What is up, everybody? Welcome back. We are the Hardcore Casuals, your all-killer, no-filler wrestling podcast, and we are here again. You know, man, it's getting harder and harder to wait a full week to round up this wrestling shit because there's so much. Yeah. Literally, since we started doing this podcast, there has been so much shit happening, and it's like breaking news, big deal shit, and it's like, you know. We got this time block carved out, you know, once a week for us to just get this done, and I guess we're gonna run with it, and we'll see how it happens. Maybe we'll do, if we're able to make it happen, big news stuff.
We just need big news to happen on like the weekends and not like Monday.
Right.
It's like always Monday when big stuff happens.
For sure. And I don't know. Well, I mean, maybe if we're able to, if something super big happens, we can jump on and do a quick 15, 20-minute pod on a random Tuesday if something.
Well, you guys, the more viewers we get in, they'll realize you guys will realize kind of how it goes. You'll wait for the end of the week, and you'll get all of our insights on everything that happens, which is kind of what we got going on.
Sure. And it's good to kind of just jam-pack it all and not have to do 1,500 videos every week. So we'll roll with it. But, yeah, so the first thing we obviously got to talk about here is this Monday Night Raw. We find out about Sasha and Naomi. They walked out during the show, and the crazy thing was, at first we were kind of like, okay, WWE normally doesn't do this kind of stuff. This kind of seems like it could be a work. And we were like, what the heck's going on here? And then they made a statement, and they said a bunch of shit that, exposes the business, kind of. They were like, oh, they had 8 hours to construct their match, and then, it's a scripted live television show, and they're being paid as characters to do their job, and they, didn't do what they were going to do as advertise, and we're sorry, and all this stuff. And, now that we've come to the terms that this is not a work, this is real life, that it kind of just seems like WWE wanted to get a hold of the narrative about this whole situation. There was a lot of stuff about how they said they were uncomfortable working with two of the girls in the match that night, and just, it just seems like a bunch of phony bullshit that kind of WWE just grabbed, and they wanted to be like, here's what happened, even though this is bullshit, kind of. But obviously Sasha and Naomi haven't specifically come out and been like, what they said it was wrong. But I think something happened on Twitter where a friend of theirs came out and kind of said what was going on. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, you want to jump in here and tell me what you think about this so far?
Yeah. First hearing about it, that my immediate impression was that it was a work. We'll go back to our first pod that we did where we talked about the, Mustafa Ali stuff that happened, last year, whenever it was, when he was asking for his release, and you heard a whole lot of internet rumblings and things like that about, him wanting to get released and all this, and then he ends up coming back, and you're like, that just kind of seems weird. He comes back right after WrestleMania, tries to get a hot crowd buzz about him. But, we talked, on our previous channels for years and years and years about how WWE and other wrestling promotions really need to capitalize on the internet and capitalize on how they can work the internet, because that's where so many wrestling fans live. We're on here, talking about stuff and have done it for years and years and years, and that's where a lot of people go. You see on Twitter and you see on YouTube or all these different social media platforms. So it's definitely a thing I think they can use. But, the more that this has come out, it's like, man, this just seems like a shoot. This seems like the biggest thing I get out of it is my knee-jerk reaction is, you have a job, do it. It's unprofessional to obviously do what they did on a knee-jerk reaction. We don't really know. We don't know all the specifics. We don't know all the details. This isn't as black and white as it was with, Austin back in 2002 when he didn't want to put over Brock, and he kind of took his ball and went home. And we saw how WWE handled that. Rock came out and literally cut a promo and, scathing Austin for leaving and saying he took his ball and went home and all that kind of stuff. WWE, it's a business move to jump ahead of the narrative, especially nowadays, because if you're ahead of it and you get in front of it, everybody's going to capitalize on, that's the first thing I heard, so that's got to be what's going on. So, knee-jerk reaction is to say, you're paid talent. You wouldn't be where you're at. I don't care who you are. No one is bigger than in the business and than the company itself. So I mean, if it was something where it didn't work out and they didn't want to do something, I could not in my mind not see a way that something they couldn't work out, to make something work, especially with all the information that we get, which again, we don't know if it's factual or not. We're hearing it from, probably second and third hand sources, but hearing about possibly Naomi was going to win the match, go on to face Bianca, and then supposedly Sasha was going to go on and face Rousey. And I'm sitting here like, what are they pissed about then? If that's what we're hearing about, I'm like, I get they wanted to be, established this as a tag team, but I'm like, you won the tag team championships at WrestleMania, and it was the first win that Sasha had at WrestleMania. Naomi, one of the biggest moments she's had in her career. And then you're going to get 2 singles title wins, whether you were 2 singles titles matches, and whether you win them or not. That's a big stage and that's a big platform. So I don't know. It's a lot up in the air, and I think anybody that has, a definitive opinion on this is just nobody's fully educated. Nobody knows all the logistics and details. But, to me, you do your job. I mean, if you're a contractor, you're getting paid, you're getting put out there, you're getting made a star by this company, you go out and you do your job, whether you like it or not. And I haven't heard of anybody having issues with any of the individuals that were going to be in that match. Like, I haven't heard of somebody getting hurt by somebody. I haven't heard of any of that stuff. So, I mean, it's really strange. To me, it seems a little bit of a self-entitlement type of deal. Sasha's been known to kind of be a little full of herself. But for Naomi to do it, too, it's really crazy and it's really strange. But, again, I just don't think we have all the information to really make a solidified, opinion on it, because we just don't have all the information.
Yeah, no, I completely understand and agree exactly with what you're saying. I think there's a lot of debate on the internet about the situation right now because, there a lot of people are up in arms about the situation and about how WWE is treating them compared to a Tony Storm or a Jeff Hardy when he walked out, but who knows what Jeff's doing sometimes.
Right.
But the stuff with Tony, she just kind of dipped out, and they didn't make a big deal about that at all. But, she finished her match, and she just didn't show up. She just walked out. But I think part of it is it's one of those things. I remember hearing, stories about Ultimate Warrior doing the same kind of shit, and then firing him, like, as soon as the match ended.
Right.
Because, like, I think he asked for, like, more money, or he wasn't going to go out there. And then he was like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll give you more money. And then he's like, he goes out, has his match, and then afterwards he's like, you're fired. So it's like, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, they're not, they're standing up for themselves and they want to do their own thing. I think I don't know for sure. Like I said, I don't know. We really don't know until we get the full story from, them girls themselves. But I kind of feel like this is maybe all Sasha's deal. I kind of feel like Sasha's kind of like, and it's been like this for a while for her where, it seems like there was like, well, she was supposed to be at SummerSlam, but she didn't show up or something.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Like, and then there's like been multiple times where she was supposed to be like, she would disappear for months. I know she was filming The Mandalorian and stuff as well, but it just seems like.
By the way, would she have that opportunity without the spotlight that WWE has given her under that umbrella? No.
Absolutely. You're right.
Absolutely not.
And I mean, and to some people, they consider, like a lot of fans consider, Sasha as one of the biggest stars in all of WWE, but they haven't used her. Maybe she's frustrated with her position in the company. Maybe she feels like she should be where Becky Lynch is, or Charlotte, or Rousey, or Bianca. Maybe once Bianca started moving up the ranks, it was kind of like, okay, I'm not saying this to offend, but it seems like, oh, I'm not the token top black girl anymore, like it could just be that. And there's a lot of talk about them being, the issue specifically being race related, which I think most of it has to do with how the situation was probably handled backstage and how WWE has been handling it since, because now we need to jump onto what has happened since Monday,
right?
Which they've come out on Smackdown and kind of slandered them more on Smackdown, but Sasha has been removed from the NXT what's it called, entrance video, and then the WWE, then now forever she has been erased.
Yep.
And then
All their merchandise.
Yeah, all their merch has been removed, so they can't get any money off their merch. I mean, I think I saw something about Sasha's contract expiring in 2 months. Like, and I don't know about Naomi. I don't know if hers was planning to expire soon too or not. But I mean, what's the likelihood that she resigns now?
Right.
It's probably not very likely now. It's possible that she just goes on to Hollywood and she's done, or if she wants to be the top star, obviously she's literally could step right into AEW and just be the number one girl there right away.
Oh, yeah.
Which would be a huge coup for them if they could get her. Obviously there's a lot more creative freedom, and clearly she would step in and be the number one female there. Just off of big time feel, obviously that's how, she's has been slated over the years. But yeah, I mean, this is an interesting story. We're obviously going to continue to see it develop and see what happens here. More stuff has continued to come out over the week, and, only thing we can really do is wait to see, statements from them and new stories and everything.
Do you think we see either of them back in the WWE ring?
I think we could potentially see Naomi.
Yeah.
Because of her
I don't think
ties.
Sasha. I think Sasha's done.
Yeah, I think her ties with the bloodline could potentially keep her there, and I think that it could be one of those, like, the best thing I could think about in this specific moment, the best thing I could think about is that the curtain call moment where those guys left and Shawn was the big star at the moment and they weren't going to do nothing with him. So Triple H got, he got shafted and he had to deal with all the bullshit, So it's like, if she sticks around and stays, it's like she's going to pay for the sins of Sasha as well.
Doesn't it just feel like she just kind of rode Sasha's coattails doing this, like kind of going out with her? Like, it's almost like, I just get this vibe where it's just like Sasha gets all pissed off and Naomi's like, yeah, I'm mad too, kind of, I guess. It's like also this, but I mean, actually, were you gonna give me a title shot? Hold on, wait, what did you say? No, Naomi, we're pissed off. Let's leave. It's like, okay.
I think a lot of it has to do with creative direction and creative, like, situations. It's like, okay, they told us that, last week that we were going to start our program for the tag titles against Doudrop and Nikki Ash, and then now we get here to Raw or whatever, or a day before, and they're like, they've completely changed it. It's like, we haven't been on TV, we haven't been featured, well, we've been on TV, we haven't been featured with the tag titles. The tag titles mean nothing. We are irrelevant. Like, it's like, what are we doing? Like, Sasha thinks she's a huge star.
Okay, but also the same question could go to Ricochet. How do you think he feels? He's Intercontinental Champion. The IC title hasn't been defended since WrestleMania 37. So it's like, you have similar situations. The tag team champs, they won the tag team titles at WrestleMania, and then they're going to be in the main event of a Raw segment, and we're potentially one of them was going to win the match. I'm like, is it just me, or are there way worse scenarios to be in? Like, maybe, I don't know, not ever be on TV or used, like, at all? Or, like, it's like, I've
seen conflicting stories about who was supposed to win that match, because it was said that she was supposed to win the match, like, literally.
Okay. But regardless, you're in the main event. You're in the main event of the Raw segment, where it's like, win, lose, or draw. You're being used, like you're being used in a top spot, and they're putting you in there because they know your star quality and they know you're fucking champions. They put the titles on you, it's like, I get maybe I think maybe that they were valuing the tag team titles higher than WWE and everyone else is valuing the tag team titles for the women's division.
Yeah, and I think that's possible that they told them that too. Yeah. I think it's possible that they told them that, hey, we plan to do stuff with you guys, and then they weren't doing anything with them, and then they probably got frustrated. There was talk that they were going to do, what was it? Sasha was supposed to be in that title match at WrestleMania over Charlotte or whatever, or whatever it was supposed to be like. Right. It was supposed to have that one-on-one main event thing. I think it has a lot to do with her personally. I think her ego, and I think maybe potentially how she feels about how big of a star she thinks she actually is, and and I think WWE is like, nope, we're not going to put up with that shit. We're just gonna nip that in the bud.
She definitely Sasha just seems like she's completely full of herself, so I could totally see it being that angle. But there's still a lot that we don't know about, and we'll definitely see and keep an eye on it going into the future.
For sure. So yeah, let's just jump into Raw here, and we'll run down a few things. There was a couple of interesting things that happened here, and I'll hit the bullet points on a couple of them here. The first thing I want to talk about here is I'm not a fan of the matches really, but I am really intrigued with the presentation of Omos and Bobby Lashley lately. It really comes off the thing I noticed about their cage match they had, it really came off big time heel to me, and then the bell rang, and then it was like, okay, well this is crap, They kind of had, Lashley out there on a little pedestal thing, and he was like posing and spinning or some shit. And then when Omos comes to the ring, they like get this like down to the ground low angle where they show him, and it's like this and they've done this for years. But the one thing that WWE has, if I can give them any credit on, at least right now at this time point in this period of wrestling, is their production and the way they try. They're very good at trying to present guys.
Yeah, presentation.
The presentation is fantastic. If they really want to get a guy over, if they really want to make a guy seem big time, they do it. And we've had this conversation before, like, Adam Cole, he looked like such a bigger deal in WWE than he does in AEW. Sometimes the presentation. Keith Lee, he's another guy. It's like you have Keith Lee in the ring with Brock Lesnar, and it's just like one of those things where you're like, oh shit, this is comparable, kind of. They kind of seem comparable. Right. And now it's like Keith Lee's wrestling on darks, and you're like, nobody cares. So it's just one of those things. Like, I really wanted to mention, like, the match itself, whatever. I actually thought the ending was garbage because literally he threw him through the cage, and I was like, okay, cool spot. And then Lashley literally laid there for like 15 seconds, and Omos just stood there dumbfounded, like, oh, what am I supposed to do? Like, literally, if you go back and watch it, he's just standing there while Lashley lays on the part of the cage. Right. So, like, and then Lashley, like, literally takes 10 to 15 seconds to, like, roll off the cage and win the match. And Omos was just standing there like, oh, shit, I guess I could, get out of the ring and win. He looks like a big fucking dummy. Yeah. But I don't know. If you want to jump in here about...
Again, I just think the Omos is greener than a fucking Jesus anything. I get that they see these guys and they're like, man, there's so much potential here. He's a big ass dude. He's like fucking 8 feet tall. He's got this crazy look. We're gonna put MVP with him. And it's just like you say, then the bell has to ring, and then it's just like, oh, I remember the Great Khali. It's just like, it's like, oh fuck. And I'm not saying he's not more athletic than Great Khali, but I'm just saying it's that mold. It's that giant that they present, and they have to work a certain style, and I'm just like, ugh. But yeah, the presentation level, I get what you're talking about. I'm on board with that. This definitely had like that shade. It was like a shittier version of that. Do you remember that? I think it was a Lashley Umaga cage match where they did that same spot where they I think Lashley jumped through the side of the cage and the side of the cage broke or some shit. But it was on an ECW back in fucking I don't know why.
I think I remember.
But it was similar to that, but it came off so much more weak dick in this variation of it. And that finish was just fucking trash. But they're going to continue to try, and we'll see if it, eventually clicks. But right now it's definitely just trying and not clicking.
I mean, I can totally get down with the presentation of their big guys like this, as long as they can.
When you're talking about Gunther and shit, again, presentation to the max, that shit is, that shit's gold. That's clicking on every cylinder. But you have the talent behind the talent, you know what I mean? So it's just Omos, when you see him, you're like, fuck. It's okay, he's got this, big fucking look to him. They're going to present him like he's a big fucking deal. And then he gets in the ring and you're just like, oh God, he's an oof. It's just like, fuck. But, we'll see where that goes.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see. So, I mean, like I said, hopefully, they continue to present their big guys. I'm interested to see it like that. So, next, I got a quick one here for you. So obviously we got Ali back here, with Mustafa Ali. Mustafa back. And at this point, it kind of just seems like he's paying for his sins at this point for what he did. Yeah. He's just getting squashed every week. You think he's being punished?
I mean, it kind of seems that way, but then again, it's like you can interpret it a lot of different ways. I mean, does he eventually get an opportunity for a title shot and then sneak a win because he's fucking, it's just like that underdog kind of story. I don't know. You could kind of go both ways with it, but I've never seen anything with Ali, and I've never really gotten like, okay, he's just this fucking, Circuit City Sammy. That's another Circuit City Sammy dude that I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like, I really don't give a shit. But God, this shit with fucking like every week where the Miz is special referee and him and Theory are like buddy. It's just like, it's fucking tiring, and I'm just like, ugh, every time I see it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I just was curious because I know we didn't really talk about.
That's interesting. I didn't really even think about that, but I mean, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, I mean, since he's been back, and he, came back a couple weeks back, and then since then he's literally been squashed twice. So, well, kind of squashed, but he was squashed by Veer. So, I don't know what they're doing with Veer. They're just using him to come out and squash. His presentation,
right, guys, and then,
yeah, his presentation has been good too. But
true.
Like, what I mean is he's literally Umaga except an Indian guy. Like,
right, yeah,
like that's how they do those guys sometimes. But yeah, so we'll see. That's another thing we'll monitor over time. And if he just continues to keep getting squashed, well then, I think
feel like it's going to lead to like probably like some sort of triple threat or something for the U.S. title, maybe that they're going to end up doing, and maybe who knows what they end up fucking doing with that title. But I mean, I'm assuming Theory will probably have his hands on it for a little bit.
Yeah. So next we're going to jump on here too is obviously they pulled that audible there because they couldn't do that main event, and they ended up just doing Asuka versus Becky for number one contender. I had to pull a complete U-turn here, and we were I guess hoping we were going to see Asuka versus Becky at the pay-per-view, but right. Pulled that switcheroo because they had to, and Asuka gets the win here over Becky, and we're going to get Asuka versus Bianca. I mean, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
That's kind of like a first time.
You think that could maybe turn into a triple threat?
Yeah.
I think they're going to have to utilize, because I think it probably was going to maybe be Becky and Asuka in a singles match at Hell in a Cell. So I think I could easily see them throwing in, Becky and then doing a triple threat, which, I mean, go for it. That'd be awesome. On top of either one, I mean, if you do the singles match or the triple threat, you have all the talent in there is amazing and would definitely be an awesome match.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, I don't know, it seems like they, potentially were going to wait on doing, either one of them against Bianca, but they had to jump the gun on it. So
right.
it definitely seems like they're not going to not use Becky on the pay-per-view, especially if, Roman's not going to be on it, Charlotte's not going to be on there. So, I bet she gets in there in the triple threat. We'll see. But, obviously that'll be a good one. That'll be a good one we're checking out. So,
right.
The next, obviously, at the beginning of the show, which I want to mention it now because it leads into kind of the end of Raw here, which is it was corny to me, but they're really going for it with Cody, man. They're trying to make this dude,
Cody, bro.
Yeah, dude, they're trying to make this dude like fucking John Cena, man. They want to like when I'm guessing because Cody said Vince flew out to his home personally, and like they had a conversation and. Like, they must have been like, listen, we want to make you the fucking shit up in here. So, and like, they have been. And he's been great on television. He's been presented great. He's been as a main event guy and a top star. So, and then they just did the countdown to Cody, which I felt like was a little cringe.
A little much. Yeah, a little much. A little cringe.
But, he comes out there, cuts his little promo, talks or whatever. Then Seth pops up on the screen and, they're like, okay, well, guess we're going to do this again. The Hell in the Cell, which, let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
it'll be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's another good one. Which is funny because I actually saw, I think it was on a wrestling Facebook group or maybe a Twitter. Somebody actually screenshotted, a Cage Match, .net website. And they they searched Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. And they've literally wrestled each other, with house shows, 12 times.
Wow.
Including house shows. 10 or 12 times, I think it was. So it's like, these guys.
Build that chemistry.
Yeah, they're getting reps in against each other. So, we're getting, obviously, this is probably going to be the main event. I mean, they got, they might add for the unified tag titles. They might add that. I don't know what the
Well,
plan is.
you got Cody on the poster now too, which they switched it up, and it's just Cody by himself on there. I would imagine if you don't have Roman on the show, I think it's got to be that Cody Seth match main eventing, which I'm all for. I think it should.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the WrestleMania Backlash match is probably the WWE match of the year, at least for me.
Yeah.
So we'll see, and that's going to be a good one. I'll definitely be looking forward to seeing that one. But yeah, I mean, they're doing what we thought they were going to do. So, I mean,
no complaints here. Yeah, they're literally doing. I mean, we couldn't have wished. I mean, honestly, for them to present Cody in a better fashion. I mean, he comes off like a legit star. He doesn't come off cheesy or corny like a lot of WWE baby faces do. He comes off like a very old school, but with like this modern, kind of touch, kind of modern feel to him. But yeah, I mean, this feud in general, I mean, it's kind of weird, obviously, seeing Cody get 2 wins and then they're having a rubber match, even though it's, Braun doesn't even want a match, but, they have the tie-in you could bring in. They haven't even talked about the whole pulling the tight stuff. They're just kind of going along and making it a trilogy of matches, but I think Seth has really done his best work in this entire build, build from WrestleMania up until WrestleMania, and then everything that they've done here has been an outstanding, feud and outstanding, promo work and character work that they've been doing. But I mean, they've been knocking it out of the park with Cody right now, and I mean, his matches have been tremendous. His promos have been great. Presentation's been on point. I mean, we just like we said last time, I don't think WWE could really wish for Cody coming back into WWE and being presented and coming off in any bigger way, any better. I mean, it's been lights out, awesome.
Yeah. The only other thing I would add to that is, I feel like they're not going to have Cody lose here.
I don't think you can. Yeah,
you can. I mean, if you want to make him,
they should have had Rollins get a cheap win at Backlash. I think they could have maybe had it be the reverse finish. Maybe they could have went the other way and had it been Rollins get the trunks and then Cody come fired back up and say, you cheated the win, you can't run off like this, and then we're gonna do a Hell in a Cell or something. But
I kind of like it because WWE's been pretty bad about their 50-50 booking for a long time.
True.
And it's kind of refreshing to see, even though they're continuing a feud, like 3 pay-per-views in a row, where they're just like,
true,
I was going to beat this guy 3 times in a row. Like, even though the second one was, a roll-up, kind of, pull the tights. But,
right.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see what they do here. But, I mean, I don't think it'll be smart for Cody to lose if the plan is to get the belt here soon. They got to just book him real strong. So, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to that, and that should be another
that'll be a
potential match of the year candidate if they hit the stride on it. So, so we'll just kind of jump from Raw. That was basically Raw. That was most of the worthwhile shit to talk about there. SmackDown, it was even less. I mean, there's just not a lot going on with these main shows. Like, most of the most interesting stuff is happening outside of the shows for the most part. And, the big thing from this one was they debuted LA Knight. And he is, and he's basically a modeling agency,
Max Dupree.
I don't know why they got to change all these people's names.
I don't either. LA Knight was a tremendous name. That was perfect for him.
If he comes out there and still talks like he does, he comes out and he's like,
I'm a huge LA Knight fan. I think he has tons of him on the mic, man. We've made mention off air. He reminds us so much of prime Mr. Kennedy, the way he carries himself, his promos, his hot shot kind of cocky, arrogant self. But man, his promos are hella entertaining, and he's an entertaining guy. So I don't know about the whole presentation as a manager. We'll see how that goes. I mean, he'll probably make it work, but he instantly would come in and be one of the most come through the screen and be so much more wildly entertaining than a lot of people you see on WWE television nowadays.
For sure. Also, I'm not really sure what's going on with this. Maybe you can fill me in a little more because I think I might have fast forwarded through a little of it. What's this deal? What's this deal with Sami Zayn? You trying to be a member of the
I don't fucking know. Yeah, they're kind of lost with that. I think they went from everything that was going on at WrestleMania with Johnny Knoxville, and then he basically is trying to suck up to like Roman and Heyman, and like he's like trying to say he's like, you know, basically like a representative for the bloodline or some shit, and I'm just like, what?
It kind of feels like what they're doing with Cedric on Raw with Omos and the thing where literally he keeps coming out there, he's like, I want to be in the Hurt Business.
Yeah, they're like, bro, it's not even a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what the I just, like, every time I see Sami Zayn, he just looks more and more homeless. Like, like that motherfucker needs to trim that beard up and get a haircut, bro. Like, I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but they're gonna, you know, they continue to try to give him stuff. He usually makes it work. I don't really know where this one's going, though.
I have no idea. I didn't even mention the shit on Raw with the fucking Kevin Owens and all that shit they're doing.
It's not worth it.
It's just whatever at the moment. I know some people, like you said, some people online love it, but at the moment. However, we do got to mention that.
Of course, the stuff with Owens and Gable is fucking gold.
Anytime both those guys, man.
Oh my god, Owens and Gable are so fucking entertaining, and oh man, yeah, that shit's great. But then you throw fucking, you know, Elias in there, and then you're like, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe if we could get Owens, Zayn, and Gable all together, just doing something,
God.
that shit would be comic gold. So hopefully we get that here one of these days.
Yeah.
Right. So, WWE, take notes. Well, listen to our podcast. So
damn it.
Do what we ask. Okay, damn it. But yeah, so here we go. I got to throw some praise here, you know, for WWE with this one, okay, with this main event here.
Yeah.
The match itself, whatever. You know, it was a decent little match. 10, 12 minutes, whatever it was. It wasn't super long. The Usos get the win here. Unify the tag titles. That's whatever as well. But man, this ending segment where they just beat them all up and they're getting shots of the crowd and they're zooming in on Reigns and zooming in on them, you know, just beating the shit out of Orton and Riddle. This was literally the best televised WWE segment I've seen in literally ever. Like, it's one of the best ones they've done in the last few years. I can literally think off the top of my head. I can't think.
Yeah.
Especially as an ending segment. Yeah. I was like, yo, this made me want to watch it next week. Right. They don't do that often anymore. Like, where I'm like, oh shit, I want to see more of what's going to happen. Right. And the best was the shit with the kids, where they were just showing the kids in the crowd crying. Like, it was so good. It was so good. And their camera angles and everything they did. So good. How do you feel about this?
Oh, I loved it. Yes, I'm right on board with you. It really kind of reminded me the way it kind of just like, it felt like it was very like Wild West, and very off the rails, very much like a ending of a Attitude Era segment on a Raw or something like that, or almost like maybe not as crazy and as spectacular as like the Nexus angle, but like very much so like where it was like it built up, like you had this anticipation. Everybody loves RK Bro, everybody's behind him. Randy hasn't been hotter, Riddle hasn't been hotter. You have the Bloodline, you have the two hottest. Potentially the two hottest face and heel components in your company right now, you know, both, you know, going at it, and both the heel face dynamics to just work beautifully. And then having Roman come out and screw. I mean, I saw this coming a mile away. It was either going to be a screwy finish or they were going to have somebody, you know, F over somebody and continue it on. But doing this ending segment, and man, the crowd just reacted to it. Like it was almost like this organic feel that kept building. And I'm like, man, this is like, people aren't sitting on their hands here. Like, they're actually giving a shit. Like, these people, they cut to the crowd. These, like, kids are crying. You got, like, guys with, like, arms on their heads, like, oh, my God, what is happening? Like, so it was just a very organic, flowing thing that didn't feel overly produced and overly done. And, like, you can see everything coming from a mile away. But it just looked good. But when you get extremely hot components, you know, Roman and the Usos and the Bloodline and the great shit they've been doing and how much, you know, heel heat they have with people, and then how much people love RK Bro. That's just, that dynamic works, man, when you build these guys up and they get over and and you have those pure foundational wrestling things like a clean baby faces and clean heels. Like, it just works, and sometimes you just get a really magical moment. I think that's what we got here on SmackDown, and really just reminded me of like one of those old school Attitude Era segments where you just had the nuclear crowd reacting to, like, you know, some heel or, you know, whatever, beating the shit out of this baby face that everybody loves. But some great stuff. And like you said, I can't wait to see what happens next with what's going on there.
Yeah, I mean, man, And you hit it on the nose about I think you got the most popular heel act in all of WWE against the most popular face act.
Right.
You know, and that hitting a perfect storm at that one moment, you know.
It's rare. It's just so rare nowadays to see that.
Yeah, and you, once it hits every now and again, you'll see it and you're just like, damn, that was the organic good moment. So,
right.
I liked it. I'm happy they did it. And, you know, that just makes me even more worried about Reigns not being around.
Right.
You know, he's in that peak moment where I think the only thing that's hurting his run is just not having great challengers, which his next 3 are apparently lined up. So, you know, for the next 3 big shows.
Just imagine continuing to build up Cody and then having Roman continue. God, that would be some good stuff. Whether they go the Drew route, I think Drew's a good heel too, or Drew's a good face too, but God, Cody's just got this like natural baby face feel to him right now. So old school. And man, if you have that same situation happen in a couple months, you know, leading to like a SummerSlam or something, and you have a big, huge beatdown, and you like fucking, you know, back in the day, you'd bloody up Cody getting into it and have him fire back. Like, man, that dynamic is just there, and it just presents itself so beautifully. But I mean, they definitely have pieces, and if they want to put the pieces together, it's gonna create something really special for sure.
For sure. All right, so let's jump in here to AEW Dynamite this week, and they've been setting this one up for a minute now with the Jokers, and what they call it Wild Card Wednesday or some shit.
Yeah,
they really love these card analogies, and fucking what's the Battle Royal, the fucking
casino Battle Royale,
or casino ladder match, and they really like doing that with the chip and the whole Double or Nothing and the whole vibe.
Yeah,
kind of their thing. Let's get into the show here and kind of run down what happened here. So we get the reveal right off the rip at the very beginning with Samoa Joe facing. Ready for this?
Yeah,
Johnny Gargano.
Oh yeah, everyone. Oh wait a minute, shit.
Oh shit. Oh, it's not Johnny Gargano. Oh, it's Johnny. Oh, Johnny Elite.
Bro, I legit, because I was the same way as probably the crowd was. Like, I saw Johnny, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, it's Johnny Gargano. And then I saw Johnny Elite, I'm like, bro, they didn't use a Gargano? They named him Johnny Elite, and then I'm like, oh, cool, I don't give a fuck.
Bro, that shit was literally the wettest, just weakest part.
Oh, dude.
He came out there, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that I don't think Johnny Nitro or Johnny fucking whatever his last name is at the moment is decent or good in the ring. I just don't care about him. Like, nobody cares about him anymore. He's just not that, like, he's not a hot, relevant wrestler anymore.
Right.
He's not. You know, and I hope he was just signed for that one match because, God forbid, they do not need him.
No.
They don't need him in the company. There's too many fucking people there. He's not needed.
No.
Which, I mean, maybe this was just a one-off deal. And hopefully, Tony's got to stop with these surprises, man. Yeah. I don't just focus on your roster, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Joe got the win, so it's like, you know, we were wrong about that where we thought, you know, the Joker.
Well, I said I firmly believe. I'm like, I don't see anybody coming to beat Joe. It just seemed weird. Like,
yeah.
I thought it could be somebody like that, but I'm like, even with that, I'm like, man, it's just weird to have somebody really big debut against Joe and beat Joe. Like, it's just like, he just beat Suzuki for a title. Like, he literally hasn't lost since he's been in there. And man, dude, I kind of just don't give a shit about Samoa Joe. Like, just flat out. Like, I just, like, his matches just come off, like, really, like, they're just, like, it's very, what is
they
it?
exist. They just exist.
They're just there. Like, it's just, like, I don't know, man. They're just, he's a shell of his former self. He looks like he's about to die like 4 minutes into every single one of his matches. He just doesn't have the cardio anymore. I mean, look at the amount of work he's done over the last 20 years and the amount of work he's put on his body. You know, he's not an AJ Styles. He's not a Bryan Danielson. He's not these guys that were in there working the same style of matches. He's got an extra 150 fucking pounds on him that he's been carrying around for 20 fucking years. So it's like, he's gonna break down. He's not working the style of matches that guys in WWE that are a lot lighter scheduled kind of guys that aren't working these fucking, 40-minute matches back on the indies for fucking 10 years, So, I mean, nothing against Joe. I mean, he's had an amazing career, and he's, one of the best Ring of Honor world champions ever, and everything he did in TNA and that great run. And it's like, he's just a shell of his former self, and he's just kind of there for me. Like, his matches don't intrigue me. I'm not super excited about anything. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but that's just kind of my vibe right now with Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hate to say I think he could be a great hand, because that's like a kind of a backhanded compliment right now in wrestling, but, you're a great hand, you can do a lot of things to help young guys.
But I mean, also you look at it like in sports terms, you look at like, say, for instance, Albert Pujols. Albert Pujols just came back to the St. Louis Cardinals. He's not playing every single day on the active roster, or no, he's on the active roster. He's not playing every single day in the lineup. He'll come in, but he's still a Hall of Famer. It's not like he's got to be doing everything, every single day and being the main person on your team, but he can still be in there as a viable person. I just don't know about Joe, man. I just feel like he's just kind of, he's just kind of like there, and he's just kind of like, I'm not super intrigued. Maybe if I get him involved in some sort of angle, I just don't know if it can build up the heat enough for me to really give a shit. I mean, I would be intrigued to see them do something possibly with Joe and Punk. I think that would be really cool. Maybe something with Danielson. I think Danielson is probably the one that could pull the best match out of Joe for the rest of his career, probably. But, we'll see where it goes. But it's just kind of like, But, I mean, there's a lot of guys in AEW that just kind of feel like they're there and either being misused or, just shouldn't have been signed, or a lot of different ways you can look at it. But, yeah. Johnny Elite, bro. Johnny Elite. There you go.
Yeah. I completely agree. I don't care about either one of these guys, really. I mean, love Joe for what he's done over the years, but at this point, I feel like he could be a really good mouthpiece for somebody. So, I mean, I guess I know Tony wants to just be like, hey, man, I loved you in Ring of Honor. I loved everything you did in TNA. And, hey, you want to just wrestle still? Like,
yeah, right.
Go out here, you're a name. People know you. Like,
Reputation. That's what it's all about.
So, Joe moves on here. He goes on to face Kyle O'Reilly, who also wins later in the night, but we'll talk about that as well when we get to that. But next up we have our champion of AEW, Hangman Page, against Takeshita or whatever this fucking guy's name is.
Yeah, the Kakashira Takeshita. I fucking
Kanasuka Takeshita.
I kind of need to take a shit.
Yeah. Here's the thing, man. This is the first time I've ever really seen this guy. I didn't watch him on Rampage. I rarely watch Rampage, but man, you know what? He's got a good body. He's a big looking dude for a Japanese guy. He's pretty good in the ring. Yeah. I just don't give a shit about him.
I kind of don't give a shit either.
Yeah, I just don't give a shit about Takeshita. Takeshita. That's how it's Takeshita.
Yeah.
Takeshita.
It's hey, let me bring in this Japanese talent who's a really good wrestler, and he's gonna be the same as every other one you've ever seen in your fucking entire life. Like, whatever.
I mean, after I watched the match with Paige, which I felt like was pretty good, and then I saw the rating from Dave Meltzer, and I was like, too good. And
what did he give it?
4.5.
Oh fuck! Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he gave it the same as Cody and Seth, which I don't think so, bro. Right. He's definitely. I mean, if you don't know it by now, he's definitely biased towards AEW's
100%. If you don't agree, you're biased.
Yeah,
that's facts. It's just facts.
But it was a good match. It was definitely a good match, and they both guys looked very good in this. Why is Paige wrestling fucking some guy nobody knows from Japan? Yep. And the dude's literally, he's going 15 minutes with this dude, and the dude's getting earballs on him.
Yep.
Like, at this point, like, if you want to look strong, why is the challenger and the champion not going out there every week and just beating dudes in less than 5 minutes?
Right.
Like, if you're building up this match, it's like,
right.
I get it, we get it. They're, You want to put on good matches every single week on TV. I totally get it. That's their thing. But it doesn't make your guys look any stronger by having them go out there and wrestle a guy. Literally, if you're a casual fan, you checked in, you're like, that was the champion? He wrestled a 15-minute match against some Japanese guy I've never heard of? Yep. Like, and I've heard good things about that guy. Like, online. I've seen people be like, this guy is like the ace of DDT. He's like an actual, like, really great wrestler. He's like,
and again, who knows that? The hardcores of the hardcores.
You're right. It's like this guy's on his way to be.
Only the fucking people that are they gonna know who this guy is. We don't, as hardcore casuals, if you want to put it that way, we don't know who the fuck he is. And then as a casual, they really don't know who the fuck he is.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, man. They have this blueprint, they have this way they want to do it, and they're sticking to it. I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. It's just not the way I would want to. To me, it waters everyone down, and it makes everyone look too equal, and nobody can rise up above everybody just being good competitive wrestlers. Like, everybody's the same. It's like, I don't get it. That doesn't make sense.
So as soon as I started to like Adam Page again, as soon as I was like, okay, I'm starting to like Hangman Page. He's getting this fucking edgy grit, fucking cowboy and don't take no shit kind of attitude. They have you heard what his new thing they're calling him is? They started calling him?
I don't know.
They are literally going to start calling him this. And I read an article about it today, actually, and I was like, oh my god, this is fucking corny as all fuck. But they're calling him the anxious millennial cowboy.
What?
Why? Why are they doing that? I mean, and then apparently there was a article written about AEW about how something to do with the stigma of mental health in men, and how that AEW is being praised for calling their world champion an anxious millennial cowboy.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I was just like, oh man, why?
Oh, and then you also this is something I wanted to bring up too. You also tie in how vocal people have been about political things in society and culture these days. You look at the shirt that Punk wore.
Yeah.
I watch wrestling to escape from that shit. I don't want to fucking see it when I'm watching entertainment. I don't want to fucking see it. Like, keep your opinions and your personal shit out of it. I don't give a fuck. And I don't think it's going to have, it may not, I'll put it this way. It may not have a super negative effect to it, but I guarantee it won't have a positive effect on your product. It's not going to be good. Somebody sees that and sees like, why? I don't want to see this shit. And they're going to turn it off, like, immediately. And you're going to lose your fan base. And you're going to lose parts of your fan base because you want to come out here and be all fucking, woke and shit and fucking talk about your fucking trendy top. I don't give a fuck. Like, you're professional wrestlers, okay? Like, I don't want to see you do any other shit. I don't give a fuck about any of your other shit. Like, entertain and take people out of their everyday instead of fucking throwing that shit back at us. Like, fuck, man.
I completely agree.
I don't give a fuck.
Whatever I believe politically, I want it to be out of my wrestling.
Yes.
I don't care about any of the political or any of this, I'm there to be entertained, like you said, and
right.
I don't want the characters to be relatable. I want to like them because I want them to be something that nobody else is.
Right. Why do we go watch movies? We go watch movies because those people aren't everyday characters. We don't go to a movie theater and want to, it just doesn't, I don't get that mentality, man. I guess trying to like humanize your characters, I guess, I don't fucking know, but I mean, it's connecting to such a niche crowd and such a hardcore fan base that it's not ever going to click with a broader fan base. It never will if you continue to present it that way. Yeah.
And then, what happened at the end here? Was Punk on commentary? What was it?
Punk was on commentary, and then at the end of the match, after Page won, they both came down and did the little face-off, and Punk they both kind of like shouldered each other, and they're both playing it tweener, like we said. We're like, there's not really like a, the crowd was kind of like, towards Punk, and then they were kind of, towards Paige. I feel like it's a little bit more face, probably, I guess. I don't know. I really don't know which way, one way or another. I don't know if they want to keep it that way and keep it kind of gray area, or they just kind of want to fight instead of just, like, making it, like, where the crowd's getting behind one or another. But, I mean, we'll see as they continue to go. But that's an issue, like we said, last week when they did the stuff in New York, where it's just like, okay, are they going that route? And then, like, this week we still have, like, a gray area. No one's really going one way or another. It's just like, we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, we only got, this week. So
yep, that's it.
Kind of finalize the what their plans are to set up the card, and this coming up Dynamite will be the final nail to set up the show, and
right.
we'll go over kind of some of the card once we get towards the end here for Double or Nothing. But
right.
yeah, that leads into they had a segment here. Finally, they are doing a triple threat for the tag team titles. They're going to do Swerve and Keith Lee versus Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy versus Hobbs and Ricky Starks. And the thing about this segment, what was this? Was there a match, I think? What happened here?
It was the fucking Workhorseman guy versus Swerve and Keith Lee.
That's right. So then the match ends, and my biggest issue with this whole situation here is they have Christian come out, and he basically is like, listen here, bitches, we're going to promo school, okay?
Right.
I'm going to cut a promo, and I'm basically going to take every single person's part in this whole segment, and I'm going to set this whole shit up for everybody because not one of these motherfuckers can cut a promo.
Right.
Literally, he was like, here's what's going down. Triple threat for the tag titles. Also, next week, triple threat tag match, blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. Psych. Segment's done. It's just like nobody got a fucking word in except for Christian. It's like, we know Christian can cut promos. Some of your other guys need to talk. Like, what are we doing here? Like, there's no heat for this match. Like, it's the literal, just, like, oh, you cost me in my match. Oh, Jungle Boy keeps getting pinned. Oh, this and blah, blah, blah. Like, bro, I don't give a fucking flying fucking fuck about none of this. It's fucking poop.
Yeah.
It's not good. And it sucks because like we said before last week, there are some guys in here that really have potential, but it's just a bunch of nonsensical poop. Like,
how many triple threat tag matches for tag titles have we seen at pay-per-views? They literally just did one at Revolution. Because they did fucking, what was it, Bucks and like.
I mean,
it was like Lucha, Red Dragon, and somebody else, I think, for the fucking tag titles or some shit.
It was Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
Yeah, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus. Wasn't it Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, Bucks, and Red Dragon?
Yes, I believe so.
I think that's what it was. So they literally just did a triple threat for the tag titles, and it was a body tag team PWG match. And guess what this one's going to be, guys? The exact fucking same.
I mean, it's basically a tag match with one, but each team has one big dude and one small spotty dude. Like,
yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I don't know. I would much rather just see Keith Lee versus Hobbs versus Luchasaurus in a triple threat.
Right.
And then
Swerve versus Christian.
in a promo battle or rap battle. That shit would be fucking hilarious.
Oh,
but I mean, is this segment, is this storyline, is this worse than the stuff that's going on with the TNT title? Because that shit's horrible too.
Oh my god. And
everything they're doing with that whole, nobody cares about anybody involved in that storyline. At least, I think Dan Lambert's fucking hilarious, and I think he should be a manager of somebody else, but whatever. That's another time. But yeah, anyway, so we get the triple threat tag match at Double or Nothing out of this segment. And when I watched this, I was just like, okay, Christian just cuts the promo, whatever. And that's it. And there's the match. So, I mean, that's what we got. So we're getting that in pay-per-view.
That's AEW setup for you right there. That's right. Way of setting shit up.
Yep. So then we jump on to, obviously, the best segment on the show again, which was the 10 lashes. I mean, Pay him Jeff his money, man. Pay him his money, or
they're gonna fucking have to if they want to keep him.
So, You know, he comes out here, and I love the way that they pulled this off because, to me, obviously they did the whole thing with Cody, where Cody took the lashes and he got the sympathy, and that's how Cody did his whole deal when he was getting the sympathy and he was taking the lashes. Wardlow, my man's is a hard ass. I love it. He just took the whippings. And then fucking MJF could not handle it. He was so mad. He was like, I know that fucking hurts. I know it hurts. And then finally the last lash he took, he was like kind of, you know, hunched over and was like, oh, you know, and he, you know, I'm glad that they did it that way where he took the lashes.
I also like to, I'm not cutting you off, I like to, the last two wasn't done by MJF. The last two was weird. So like it makes MJF look like even more of a pussy that he wasn't even the one to hurt him. So I mean that is just like what I'm talking. It's like why can't there just be those little hints of brilliance, you know, spread throughout all of AEW? It's only in like 2 spots, but everything else gets like shit. It's like, and that's just it's a nice little detail they threw in there where it's like, oh yeah, it wasn't even MJF that hit him. He had to fucking low blow him to really hurt him and do all that shit. But yeah, you continue. I'm sorry, I just remember that. I was like, that's some good shit.
No, it was good, and Wardlow at this point, he's getting the nice Goldberg treatment from the crowd when he comes out there and Wardlow, and doing the whole thing where he comes out with you know, from the back with the security and he's chained up. I like it, man. I like it. I think it's good, and I think it's different than anything going on else, you know, right now. I think, you know, that's one of those segments within AEW. They're like, man, they need to not fuck this up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's one bright spot. I mean, and there's, for the most part, there's not a whole lot of real shit parts of AEW. There's just so much going on, you know. There's so much to keep track of, and there are a couple of...
There's just not really good pro wrestling segments. There's just a lot of pro wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, there's just so much wrestling. There's just so many names to keep track of. There's so many fucking people coming in and out. But it's like, then you get to a segment like this and you're like, pro wrestling, thank you. Like, this is what we love. Like, this is the good shit. Like, building it up, having the history, having all these breadcrumbs where Wardlow's getting pissed off at MJF and not wanting to be his lackey because he realizes he's a bitch. And like, yeah, man, this stuff is fucking great. Like, it's so good because it's like, it does have those shades of like, you know, those, like how Wardlow's like almost like this Goldberg figure where he's like this larger than life guy. They bring him in, no music, they have him come in like with the fucking back gate opening up and he just looks like a fucking hard ass and like he's just gonna like break loose and fucking murder him, and having him not even flinch, like just stand there, not even blink an eye when he's hitting him with it, and then having MJF do his, you know, great heel work and low blow and the fucking AEW ring and knocking him out and shit. And it'll be interesting. I'm really curious to see how this match is going to work because they literally could just have him go in there and Wardlow just beat the living shit out of him. Like, and then like it would make sense and it'll be like that kind of works too. Or they could try and make a match out of it and have, you know, MJF kind of run around and do his fucking dastardly things to, you know, heal it up and make it work. But regardless, we're
Roxanne squash.
There, yeah, I mean, but you can see it. That's the thing. It's because like it's believable into the fact that you believe MJF's a pussy and you believe that Wardlow's a fucking unstoppable monster. Like it just makes sense. Like that's pro wrestling, folks. Like that's what shit is built on. Like they are presented the way that they look. They're presented the way that they feel and they come off. Like that's how you want it. You don't want some fucking 150-pound guy soaking wet coming in there and beating the shit out of a 300-pound guy because it makes no fucking sense. Like it doesn't make sense. So it's like, this shit's great, and regardless, every single week it always delivers, and it's consistently been the best feud going on in wrestling, and it will probably continue for however long it goes, because it's been great stuff, and yeah, I can't praise it enough for what they've done with building up Wardlow, and like, obviously the great work that MJF continues to do.
For sure. I'm a big fan, and, you know, we'll get the match, and we'll see. I mean, hope they pull something interesting here, because at this pay-per-view, there's going to be a lot of wrestly type matches.
Oh yeah, try hardy wrestling. Yep. Yeah,
try hardy wrestling type matches, and you know, there's no problem with that if you're good at it, you know. But you know, it's not these pay-per-views.
Give me a 5-star storyline over a 5-star match any day.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree with that statement now. And you know, there needs to be a bit of a variety show at these pay-per-views, because if you're going to give me 5 straight hours of guys dude's just going hard, doing moves, I'm going to be burnt.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be burnt out. Like,
how we was Revolution, too. It was like 4 hours, and we were like, Jesus Christ, just wrestle. It's like, fuck, man. Like, give us variety, like you said.
Right. So that jumps us on to the next thing here, which is, I mean, well, before we get to this Jericho Appreciation Society segment thing, I do want to quickly mention the Kyle O'Reilly Ray Phoenix match and what that meant there. When I was looking at the brackets here, I was hoping, it could be a whatever, all over the place, crazy PWG one-on-one match. I would love to see Adam Cole and Ray Phoenix. Well, that didn't happen because Kyle O'Reilly won here. And now we have O'Reilly and Joe next week. And we'll get to the main event, which I've obviously already spoiled, which is, Cole beating Jeff Hardy. But we'll get to that ending part too. But, we have O'Reilly versus Joe, and they're going to go on and face Cole. And, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not really interested to see this final at all, no matter who it is. Like, I mean, I think the match will probably be better if it's Kyle O'Reilly. Yeah. But fuck, man.
I think it's going to be Joe.
I don't know. He's been feuding with Lethal and those guys. So next week they might cost them the match. So
that's true. That's possible.
So it's possible that they cost him the match, or if they do,
we got to get to that Joe and the big motherfucker having a match. We can't wait for that.
And I feel like the finals, they might want it to be like this, like over the top, like fucking 5-star
takeover.
Right, NXT takeover match. Like they want.
You mean the match they just had a takeover? Like, I don't know, last year.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, you give them 20, 25 minutes, those guys can go out there and put on a banger. But it's just, we done seen it. It's already happened. And then we're gonna get what, Cole versus Joe? Like, is Cole gonna pull a great match out of Joe? And is Cole even going to pull out a great match period anymore?
That's what I was about to say, because I'm telling you right now, dude, Adam Cole's matches bore the fuck out of me. Because it's the same, his promos are the same, his matches are the same, there's no variety in anything any of those Undisputed Elite guys are fucking doing right now. They're all the fucking same. Like, we're going to see fucking 17 Panama Sunrises and fucking super kicks and retarded fucking near falls and murdering themselves and shit, and they're going to do the same old shit that they always do. And I'm telling you, this guy is better when he was produced by guys like Triple H and Shawn Michaels in NXT. Like, when he had the talent behind them that was producing these matches and that was saying, hey, calm it down with all that fucking indie bullshit and really break down and fucking let's work a wrestling match and build this motherfucker. And those were his best matches of his career. Adam Cole will never touch the matches that he had in NXT, period, and I will fucking live with that statement. He is never going to get to the point where those matches, those Gargano matches, or the fucking Ciampa, or whoever the fuck he was in there with, Aleister Black and the shit like that. He just doesn't, he works a different style, he looks different, he's just a different guy. He is just a different fucking dude than we've seen in NXT. We've seen the best version of Adam Cole, and I don't think we'll ever see that version again. I flat out don't. I just don't see it happening, dude.
Yeah, they're just interchangeable, and they all work the same style, and they're all just. I think O'Reilly has potential because I think he wrestles more of a ground-based style, but
right.
If he's been there, he's creatively just kind of been, buddy, we're gonna just go in here and have fun and do a bunch of fun.
He's just boring. Like it's just flat out, he's just fucking boring, dude. Like all those guys, Bobby Fish, O'Reilly, Cole's doing the same shit that he did before he was in NXT. Fucking the Young Bucks, like all those dudes, they're just interchangeable and they do the same shit for years and years and years, and they're living off of the fucking hardcore fucking nerd culture that's like, oh my god, they're so great, let's see another 5.25-star match. Like, whatever, man. Like, it's just like, God, you just gotta progress and you gotta evolve, and it's just, I don't see it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We're obviously going to get some kind of match here with Cole and Joe.
What are you calling for the finals?
I think it's going to be O'Reilly. I think Joe. I think they're going to get. Someone's going to get.
Cole's already in the finals, or does Cole have to face somebody?
Yeah, Cole beat Jeff Hardy in the main event of Dynamite.
So that was the semifinal then. So he's in the finals.
Yeah, Cole's in the
Okay,
final.
so he faces the winner of O'Reilly Joe.
Yeah, next week. This would just Dynamite. So
Yeah, I think it'll probably end up being O'Reilly too.
So I mean, unless Joe doesn't get that interference, which Lethal's been doing.
No, O'Reilly's not beating him clean. There's no fucking way O'Reilly beats Joe clean.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So now we'll jump on here to they did the Jericho Appreciation Society segment with Eddie Kingston and Ortiz and Santana, and then you had the Blackpool Combat Club out there, and Jericho's like, oh, we're gonna do a 5-on-5. He's cutting a promo. We're gonna do a 5-on-5, and we're gonna do another Stadium Stampede, and then fucking John Moxley's like, I'm not doing that shit, bro. We're not doing that dumb shit. And at least they're sticking to their shit, though. They're sticking to their fucking shit, and they're like, hey, we don't do that dumb shit. Like, we're gonna come out, what they're gonna do is a Stadium Stampede in the arena. Essentially, is what's gonna happen.
Anarchy in the arena is what it's called.
They're gonna brawl throughout the arena. They're going to do a bunch of fucking crazy spots and use weapons, jump off shit. That's what this match is going to be. It's going to be a crazy 5-on-5, fucking 25, 30-minute brawl. And that's just what it's going to be. And it's probably going to be fun as fuck. But, it's unfortunate because fucking I want to see Bryan Danielson wrestle somebody good. That's just all there is to it. So, I mean, it is what it is.
To the point where I'd rather see Moxley just do that instead of Moxley have a wrestling match too, because he's been having some bangers.
Yeah, he's definitely reinvented his style, and he's gotten himself in that great shape after rehab. So that's great too. But I did want to also mention quickly the funny little ditty they did back and forth with Jericho and Regal. I was hoping that Jericho had mentioned the whole peeing in his tea thing from WWE over those years ago. And then Regal's whole thing, he's like, every time we worked a show together, any place we've ever worked, when you've been out and had a match, I would take your toothbrushes and shove them up my bum. And he's like, Daniel Garcia, you as well.
I love the line from Jericho talking about fucking Regal and how he has good company with Moxley about drinking and shit. I'm like, fuck. He's like, you're gonna have to join Moxley in the program. I'm like, fuck. That's stupid.
Yeah. That's the best part about it.
That was some funny shit. Dude, Jericho's just fucking the shit he's wearing and being called himself to everything. Like, I'm gonna throw a fireball in your face because I'm a fucking wizard. What are they doing? Like, oh god damn it, it's too good. It's okay. It's what we've talked about forever. It's so bad it's good. Yeah.
It's not bad because it's bad and bad because it's mid.
It's entertaining as fuck.
It's entertaining as fuck because it's so ridiculous. And that's Jericho. That's him here. So it's funny as fuck to see them back and forth. And the banter between him and Regal is fucking hilarious. But yeah.
I love that segment. That shit was hilarious.
It should be good. And I did want to quickly mention, I don't know if you saw this, you probably did. After this, they had a little deal where, was it Rampage that this happened?
Oh, yeah, with Danielson. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch Rampage, but I heard about Danielson getting his leg caught, and there was a lot of talk. They actually showed the footage on AEW's YouTube.
Yeah.
So it's like, kind of makes it seem like it's a work, or I'm not.
I think they came out and said it was a work. There was something, I read an article about how, Danielson, he noticed his leg was caught, so he tried to work it as an angle, and he had some of the guys, I think Hager came over and started, stomping on his knee or some shit, but supposedly they were all laughing and shit afterwards. So I think he's fine, and there wasn't anything that really happened there. I think in the crowd there were shots of it, people were freaking out. They're like, "Holy fuck, his leg's stuck and he can't get out" or whatever. But if you watch the footage back, there's footage of Danielson coming over, and I think it was I don't whatever the ref is. The PWG ref. I can't think of his name.
Knox.
Not Rick Knox. Yeah, he came over and they kind of had a little conversation, and I think he went and told the other guys, I'm going to play it up and kind of work it. So I haven't heard any sort of significant injury, thankfully, but I think, they just kind of worked it up a little bit and kind of were just making it a big ordeal, and they were all kind of laughing it off afterwards is what I heard. So that's good news that he didn't get hurt, because the original thing I saw, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, please don't tell me he fucking shattered his knee or some shit.
That'd be awful. Awful. So, but yeah, this was a humorous segment here, and Uncle Jericho kind of was trying to cause dissension between Kingston and Danielson, which was one of my favorite matches from last year.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to get another one of those down the line, because boy, oh boy, those guys, man, they're both hitting strides right now, definitely in their matches. Well, Danielson forever. But Kingston, man, he's hitting the pinnacle of his career in terms of matches.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, we'll see what happens here with this. This should be a fun brawl at the pay-per-view coming up. So, this is the one they added. They added this and then the triple tag match. So, but yeah, and then we'll hop on here too. Next we get Serena Deeb, okay? She comes out and she's cutting this promo, okay?
She's trying.
My God, she was awful on this promo, man. She sounded so uncomfortable cutting this promo. Either she just was missing, like she was hitting her lines and all that, but she just did not sound right cutting this
very
promo.
unnatural.
It came off very unnatural. But I did want to mention, obviously there was a whole bunch of talk about over the last week about NXT and about, Athena and her shit talking about how they wanted all the women to be sexier and all this. And I did not know that she got a boob job just so she could get hired by WWE.
Yeah.
I didn't know that shit. And I knew obviously she shaved her head because she was with Straight Edge Society.
Right.
And she was like, okay, I'm going to shave my head. And she did what she literally sold her soul to become a pro wrestler in WWE at that point. Got a boob job, shaved her head, and she talked about the hardships. And she's an incredible worker in the ring. Like, she's awesome in the ring. I believe what she does. She comes off crisp. She comes off tough. But this promo did not do nothing for her here. And having Dustin come out and not saying a word, and then Thunder Rosa coming out, what the fuck is Thunder Rosa doing?
I don't know.
Dude, I saw something on Twitter about how since she's won the title, she's had
like 7 minutes of screen time or something. Yeah.
I think it was 11 minutes of screen time. But still, 11 minutes.
Yeah.
You're women's champion. It's like, it's not like,
yeah, where's all the fucking the spokespeople for women's wrestling that were like saying such great shit about AEW and how much they're putting on, but yet you don't hear anybody saying, wait, why is your world champion only out there for 11 minutes over the last month? Like, where are those motherfuckers at? Because I don't hear any of them talking right now. Oh, wait, they're too busy supporting Sasha and fucking Naomi. Fuck off.
Dude, I don't know. I don't know what was going on with maybe it was Thunder Rosa. Maybe she was dealing with
They're both super cringy on the mic. Like, Thunder, too, when she talks, like, she needs to, like, I don't know, like, but, like, both of them. Like, it was just like, oh, God, just wrestle and don't talk, please.
Yeah.
Fuck. And the match is going to be really good, but, like, you don't
have
to build
it.
Could be very good. You could just say, hey, we're going to wrestle, and, it's going to be for the title. All right, see you there. Like, I'm good with that, like, because I don't want to try and see them build. As soon as I saw that Deeb had a promo segment, I'm like, oh, boy. Like, this is going to go off the rails.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously we'll do, like you said, the match will be good, and we just let them go out there. They could have the best women's match they've ever had on pay-per-view. And it's likely they could do it. So hopefully that they live up to that. Potentially not. Obviously the promo work isn't doing anything for us, so we literally only have to live by the quality of the match at this point. So
right.
Yeah, it was just weird. It was just a weird promo, weird segment all around, in my opinion. But,
yeah, same.
But yeah, so we'll get on to the final bit here. They basically had the main event, which is Adam Cole versus Jeff Hardy, and this kind of did two things. It set up the finals here with Cole. He basically, he beat Jeff Hardy. If they were to go on and put Jeff Hardy in the finals of this, it would have just made no sense. Like, I just feel like Jeff doesn't need this. He doesn't need to do this.
Right.
But this set up also the Young Bucks versus the Hardys, which I believe has been made official for Double or Nothing. And Cole gets the win here, and then all the Undisputed Elite guys come out, and the Bucks and O'Reilly and Fish, and they just beat down the Hardys, and I don't give a fuck, bro.
Same.
Like, for
what
a
was that
wider
thing you sent me? It was like the main heel faction in WWE compared to the main heel faction in AEW. It's just like cosplay versus real wrestlers or some shit like that.
Yeah, it was just
That's
like,
what it is.
it's I don't know, man. For those
how'd you like that super kick to Sting too? That was some good shit.
Oh,
it was
my!
really botchy episode of the AEW. Like there was a lot of botches on that show. Like between the promo segments, between some of the matches, that fucking super kick that Cole tried to give Jeff Hardy off that fucking Whisper in the Wind, where he like kicked him in his fucking shin. Like what did he even kick? Like you slow-mo it down, he like doesn't even kick anything. I'm just like, what the fuck are we doing here? And then that just epic double super kick to Sting where he looks like he just got shot with a shotgun in his head or something. I was like, fuck, dude.
He got super kicked in the arms and then just stuff down. Oh, man.
Jesus, right?
Yeah, I mean, what else can you say? I mean, at this point, that they've teased the whole Hardys and Young Bucks thing. They've done it before in other promotions.
Yep.
And at this point, they haven't done it at this level of mainstream level. It kind of just feels like at this point they really are just trying to hit their notes with the Hardys. They're like, okay, they've said it. They've come out and said it. We're doing a final run, and it's possible that Jeff signed a 1-year deal, and he's just going to work out the 1-year deal and work out all the dream matches that they want to do with tag teams over the next year, and then calling it a day, and being done, calling it a career. So
already got that big, fucking clusterfuck match with Darby too, which everybody wanted to see.
Yep. So I mean, they're gonna do this at the pay-per-view, where I'm guessing they do about 15 minutes here and hit the greatest hits from both teams, and we go from there. But as an ending segment here, I just fucking didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
I just, like we said, we've talked about it. We just don't give a shit about the Undisputed Elite. We don't care about the fucking. It feels like high school lacrosse buddies, just like fucking off after practice, just like fucking in the locker room, just fucking whipping. Or
like sorority dudes, like sorority guys, like fucking initiating like some fucking new guy or something. It's just so fucking. Oh, God.
Sorority? Sororities is girls, right?
No, bro. That's a fraternity.
Sorority boy, dude.
I went to community college, bro. Okay, like I don't know what the fuck.
You said sorority. I was like, oh, I think that's girls. And fraternity.
Whatever. You know what the fuck I meant, all right? So like those kind of like douchehead motherfuckers that like you know they partied every fucking week and then they like beat the shit out of each other with like fucking donkey dicks and shit or whatever the fuck they would do. But like. They're just like little kids. They're just little kids out there playing.
Little boys. Just little boys playing.
Little boys out there throwing super kicks that don't even come close to kicking and don't even come close to hitting. And you got some 58-year-old guy in makeup doing fucking goddamn looks like he gets shot with a 50 cal. And it's just like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, it's like, oh, God. It's just like
the wrestling start.
Fuck. Like, Jesus Christ.
But yeah.
Dynamite. Can't miss it.
That was Dynamite, so we got one more week, so we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna jump on here to the other news, the related news. A couple of big things happened this week outside of the Sasha and Naomi news, which kind of dominated a lot of internet, but a few big things happened. So we're gonna hit those things real fast here for you. The first thing here is. Have you been watching any of NXT 2.0 at all? No. No, me neither.
Yeah, no.
I'm not really cared too much about it. There's a few guys on there that I like. I do like Braun Breaker. I like what's his name, Cameron Grimes, and a few of the ladies that they have on there. I like, but it's not enough for me to have to tune in every week. It's a special pay-per-view or on television or whatever they do nowadays. I might jump on and watch a few matches, or if I hear about something good or a storyline going on that might be good, I might try to check it. But for the most part, I don't give a shit. Yeah. And it seems like a lot of other people don't give a shit either, because this last week's NXT 2.0 drew the lowest rating they've had since they've become 2.0.
Okay.
So, and the interesting thing about that is that whole show was an all women's show, which we've talked about before, and it seems like WWE has been going towards more like strong women-based, shows, or a lot of their top stars in the company are women, and it kind of seems like, they haven't been able to make a lot of men stars lately, but it just seems like every time you turn around for WWE, they have a new women's star. They got Rhea and Bianca, and then they have the 4 Horsewomen girl, and then, it just seems like you go on to NXT 2.0, and it's like, this girl has potential. This girl has potential. You got Raquel, who just came up, and then it's like there's like a boom right now of women's talent in WWE that could be potential stars. However, people don't give a shit about women's wrestling. Like, most people, even casual fans, and I would say to a degree some hardcore fans do, but for the most part, you're not going to draw a huge crowd or a huge audience with just women's wrestling. And that begs the question, like, is the direction in which WWE's going with women's wrestling, or just wrestling their product in general, where they're having a lot more female-based shows and a lot more women's matches, do you think that it's going to be a detriment to their product as a whole, like just for drawing in new fans?
I would say I don't see the links to where it's going to be 50-50 even to a point. I mean, what would you say it is right now? If you like look at the overall product, would you say it's like 70-30, 60-40, like men to women, like attention that they get on screen? I would say it's probably like 70-30, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you could argue 60-40. I don't know. But
I think they're using more women to draw in men, maybe? More men?
To the NXT, I think possibly. WWE's main roster, I don't think so. I think they're using them because they're some of the best workers in the fucking world, because a lot of the talent that you have there are some of the top women's wrestling talent that we've ever seen, in America, or in North America at least.
Yeah.
I would say I don't think it'll ever get to a point to where it'll be like even 50-50 split. I don't see that. I don't see them fully dedicating that much potential. I think they just, it's a one-off. It's not like NXT 2.0 does it every week, right? I mean, they just had didn't they have like a breakout tournament or some shit like that, like for a women's division breakout tournament or something?
They were still running the tournament.
Yeah.
So they had some matches from that, but.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not like they're running like a fucking Shimmer promotion. You know what I mean? It's not like they're running just an all-women's promotion or something like that. I think that just, they want to possibly get out there. Maybe a lot of the backstage people think that there's more potential maybe in some of these women, and they see the talent there, which I haven't watched. We haven't watched, so we really don't know. The only things we see are, gifts of Nikita Lyons pinning people. That's like the only thing I ever fucking see from NXT 2.0. Or Mandy doing another photo shoot or some shit. I don't know. But, I don't really see it ever being, I don't think it's a detriment. I think that what WWE has done over the last 10 years is brought in more life to women's wrestling than anything in the history of pro wrestling. Like with what we've seen with building up the Charlottes and Sashas and, all the names, Becky and Asuka and Bayley. It just, those names go on and on about the amount of talent that they brought in, and then they, progressed, and they built, and they, matured, and they've become, larger than life characters, and they've become, some of the biggest and most biggest superstars that we've seen in WWE are a lot of the women's, talent that we see nowadays. So I just think it's probably something they're just using maybe to potentially build up some that they have some faith in, but I don't really look at that as being something that's a continuing factor, that it's like it's going to continue to grow and we're going to see this overwhelming sensation of like female talent on the roster. I don't see it going that route, but I just praise what they've done, in the past and building up to what we see now with some amazing women's talent that is some of the best we've ever seen in the history of pro wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the quality of matches has been, 10-fold better than it was, 10 to 20 years ago. And, that's nice to see. But, I mean, it just seems like maybe men don't really care as much to see women wrestle, and I think maybe women don't care as much to see women wrestle. Like it's maybe possible. I don't know.
Well, I can see it being. I mean, it's something to where, like you say, like okay, like my wife watches a lot of wrestling. She watches pretty much everything that I watch, and when she sees somebody like Bianca, she sees a very naturally beautiful person. She sees somebody that's like, okay, I can get behind her. She's not this fake, baby, art baby. She's not this fake, like, Barbie doll, fake looking person. And then she looks at a Mandy and she's like, so it's like, it's a difference when you see somebody, it's like a male or a guy sees a Mandy, it's like, oh, that's a hot chick. And then it's like a Bianca who's beloved by everybody because she's just a pure person. She's just a natural person that just has, so much likability and everything like that. So, I mean, another thing too is not just the match quality. You look at the star making that they've made these women. Like you look at a Becky, you look at a Charlotte, you look at all these characters, like Asuka and people like that have become larger than life. Like you look at a Charlotte and you put her on the same level as like a Roman Reigns when it comes to carrying themselves as a superstar. And you've never seen that in the past. You've just never seen that when it comes to women's wrestling. So, I think it's unfortunate, but for us, for the people that, appreciate, what these talent have done and have continued to progress and evolve the, women's wrestling from what we used to see, like you said, when we were having the, Divas pillow fights and fucking Kelly Kellys and shit, all doing other shit, like, to what it is now, it's just night and day, a complete 180. So it's really awesome to see because they're some of the biggest stars in all wrestling, without a doubt.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. And it's just weird that the rating was so low. And it kind of speaks. They always talk about ratings and what it means, and it could just be one of those. People just didn't feel like watching this week as well. So, but it's just weird. It was mostly an all women show, and it had a really low rating. So I just
think
thought
that would happen if they did that on the main roster.
You think the same thing would happen? The rating?
I don't think it would.
No?
No, I think that women's pay-per-view is one of the best WWE pay-per-views they put on in like the last 10 years. That Evolution pay-per-view. That show was tremendous. Like that was fucking awesome. Like the match that you had with Charlotte and fucking you had like the Mae Young Classic finals with like Toni Storm and like Io Shirai. I think they had like a fucking last woman standing match with like Becky and Charlotte. That show was tremendous. I don't think it would. If you had like a built-up show, like if they did an Evolution 2 or something like that, and they really built up the women's angles, I think it'd be one of the best shows of the year for WWE. And I think that's what it was with the first Evolution show.
Well, I'm not talking about the quality of the show. I'm talking about the level of interest because even though that Evolution show was good in terms of quality, I would agree with that. It was one of the least bought WWE pay-per-views of all time.
True. That's true.
So it's just like what is the level of interest for women's wrestling, which makes me also kind of jump to another thing, which I was going to ask you with the AEW stuff, with the review on that, but I kind of wanted to ask you, like, do you think the whole thing with the Jade and her stuff with the baddie section, with her adding the two girls that she added and kind of having her faction, is a bit of a response to Toxic Attraction and the level of interest that they have drawn?
That's possible. I never thought about that, but yeah, that's definitely a possibility. I mean, you kind of have a very similar kind of feel to that. You got the kind of like Better Than You, like what is that Mean Girls type of kind of vibe that you kind of got with them, which, to be all honest with you, everybody's stealing from the beautiful people. And fact, those are the OGs. Everybody's just stealing from the OGs because they did it first. And I mean, that was the original kind of Mean Girls faction of, chicks that are, think they're better than everybody else, and the cheerleader types or the preppy types or whatever. So I mean, it's everybody's kind of got vibing off that, but it could be. I think everybody is kind of just taken from everybody at this point because there's just so much, being spread around and everybody hearing about stuff. And it is it's got to be the most over women's thing in NXT right now is the Toxic Attraction stuff. Because I mean, shit, Mandy's been champion for like ever, it seems, and the popularity of her, and obviously all the internet hits that they get, that's for sure. So that definitely could be. I could see. What do you think that's something that's probably a potential that they're kind of ripping off of?
I mean, I think it's also they wanted to use I mean, maybe it's Jade's idea. Maybe they wanted to find something for, you know, some other girls of what's up?
What was her name? Red Velvet, and then what's the other one? I can't
Kiera Hogan, I think.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe she wanted to just have two girls of color that she liked and that they were a part of the company to be a part of like a faction to get them kind of, and you know, Jade's kind of building her reputation as well. So
right,
a good idea for that as a whole, because, you know, sometimes if you're not in a faction in AEW, you're not getting on TV kind of.
Right.
You're a lone wolf sometimes.
Right.
You know, you're not getting that TV time, or you're in some kind of group or a tag team or something.
Yeah, I could definitely see that for sure.
So, but that's just interesting. We'll follow that along and kind of see what goes along with the women's wrestling over the year and see where the level of interest falls. But I just found it interesting, you know, that it's a very low viewed show. So we'll see how women's wrestling develops over the year and see what happens. Obviously, with Sasha Naomi potentially out, you know, there's some interesting stuff there on the horizon if Sasha wants to make that jump. So the AEW potential. So yeah, next thing I want to talk about here is, fuck, dude, I don't know. Out of nowhere, I was on Twitter and somebody posted this wrestling card, and when I looked at it, I was like, is this a fantasy card? Is this some bullshit fantasy card that somebody booked? And then I started looking it up, and people were like, in the comments, they're like, what is this? Who booked this? Is this some kind of fucking made up thing? And then I was researching and looking in there and like, you know, this is a real show, okay? So I'm going to read off the card for you, and I'll explain exactly what it is. But this promotion in the UK, they are going by Wrestling Entertainment Series. I fucking never heard of this company in my life, okay? And obviously, you know, fuck, I mean, they've created a whole bunch of buzz by this very first show they're running, because this shit literally looks like they plucked this shit out of WWE in like 2018. So here's the card for this show, okay? And it's just baffling to me. So let's see. On the pre-show, they got Dirty Dango versus Levis Velasquez Jr. What is that?
Sure.
I think it's the guy who
Fandango, right?
Yeah, it's Fandango versus one of the Luchador guys from
Lucha House
WWE. Party. What, Lucha House Party? Maybe one of the Lucha House Party guys.
One of those guys. Is it Lince Dorado? Maybe.
Let me see. No, Lince Dorado's in another match.
Okay.
The
fucking other guy.
Oh no. Okay, Levis Velasquez Jr. is Noe Jose.
Oh God. Okay.
So we got Fandango versus Noe Jose on this card.
In a dance off.
Yeah, whatever dance off match. We got Mike Bennett versus Biff Busick, which was Oni Lorcan in WWE. Okay. We got Dean Mahadei versus, I can't pronounce these dudes' names. Dean Mahadei versus Lince Dorado. Dean Mahadei was Mojo Rawley. Okay.
Oh God. Okay.
Then we have the women's tag team titles, which is Madison Rayne and Tennille Dashwood versus...
Which they're a legit tag team on Impact, right?
I believe so.
I think they're called like, they have a name. I don't know.
Versus Deonna Purrazzo and, what's her name? Green. What's her first name?
Chelsea Green.
Chelsea Green. Yes, Chelsea Green for the women's tag titles.
Chelsea 469.
Yeah, Chelsea 469. And then we have a triple threat match, which is Killer Cross, which was Karrion Kross, versus Samurai del Sol, which was Kalisto, versus Jonah, who was Bronson Reed, in a triple threat.
Right.
Okay. Then we have for the tag titles, we have Legion of Pain, which was
Authors of Pain
versus Blake, what the fuck's that guy? He was literally
Buddy Matthews. It was Blake and Buddy or whatever the fucking the Alexa Bliss tag team.
Yes. Yeah. And he's teaming with Steve Macklin, who was another NXT WB guy, right? So they're going for the tag titles, right? And then Next, we have the women's match, the women's world title match, which is literally Nia Jax versus Lana, like, for the women's title, okay? I'm dying. They literally...
If you want to talk about ratings, that's going to bring it right there.
oh, man. And then the main event here, okay?
Yeah, let's hear this one.
Okay. Braun Strowman, who's going by his first name, his real name now, or the Titan, Adam the Titan Shear.
Yeah.
Versus Alistar Overeem, the guy who was in MMA. I think he
beat Brock Lesnar.
He beat Brock Lesnar, okay, in the UFC.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this card, bro? What is this? Like I don't even know. Oh fuck! At this point, this card popped up, and I literally thought this was fake. This is a real wrestling card.
This goes back again to it's so bad that it is must watch for us. Some people might say these are WWE rejects, and we might say these are WWE rejects, and we have to fucking see this shit.
And here's the thing, like this might be a really entertaining show for a number of reasons. If they're like looking at this from a booking perspective, and they're like, let's if they're able to create good storylines with this and book this well, and it's entertaining, like this could be worth seeing, worth watching. And we're not really here for the match quality. Like there's nothing on this show. I mean, there's maybe a match or two that could be good. Maybe the triple threat with Jonah and Killer Cross.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking.
That one might be good. And you know, the tag match might be good. I don't know. The main event could be good. I don't know. Like Roman was doing the best stuff of his career at the end of WWE, but now who knows? And we don't know if Overeem can even work. So who the fuck knows? But dude, I'm telling you, man, I'm intrigued. I want to watch this fucking show.
Yeah,
like,
tune into the Hardcore Casuals. We have a full review of this show for the World Wrestling Scene, or what the fuck are they called? Or
Wrestling Entertainment Series.
There it is. Yeah, we literally have, I think the Illuminati are running the show. I don't even fucking, like, I have no clue. Like, when you sent me that, I'm like, who the fuck is putting this shit together? Like, I don't know, but it's,
I'm gonna have to like research this fucking company and see what this is.
I don't. Yeah,
this is like somebody being like, we're about to run a fucking WWE pay-per-view. Like that's what we're doing.
I don't know, but it's just so random that it's like all the characters that you would think would be those. It's like those wrestlers that you think like, oh yeah, those are those WWE wrestlers, and it's all of the names that you would think of. It's like everybody. It's like Nia Jax, Lana, and Braun Strowman, and fucking like what? Just like
I wouldn't be surprised if this pay-per-view drew like a fairly big pay-per-view buy rate. Just
no, come on. Nobody's even going to know about this shit. Like, you have to be deep diving on fucking the internet to even know what the fuck this shit's going to... Like, would we even know what it's on? Like, is it even on streaming? Anything? Like, where is it at?
It is. Let me tell you what, okay? You're over here, no, but honestly, like, there's names on this show. Like, there's big names. Like, big names. Like, every person on this show is a name from a major wrestling promotion. There's no independent talent on this show. They're not nobodies. They're people that people know. And
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, I'm just saying, as far as getting big buys, nobody's fucking heard about this show or this promotion. Like, I'd like literally
the promoting of the show hasn't been like super big, but like
right.
I've seen people talking about it, and I think the level of intrigue could be one of the biggest buys for Fight TV for a pay-per-view, wrestling pay-per-view. Like, I think it could outbuy, like, I think honestly, legitimately, it could be outbuy, like, the independent, like, or not independent, the Impact shows and, like, Ring of Honor shows. Really? Just off of, like, casual eyes alone. Like,
that's the thing, though. That's the thing, though, is because all those names are casual name fans, but are those casual fans the ones that are going to be finding it like we did? That's my question, is because it's like,
that's a fair point.
Casual fans need to find they have to find that niche of those casual wrestlers that are way over here in this random corner, like doing this one-off show that for this new promotion, I guess. But it's like, it's got us interested, that's for sure, because it's like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect it to be some kind of promotion I would watch all the time, but like if they do like super shows like this promotion does like super shows like this like a couple times a year, I would be intrigued to just to watch them, just to see what they're going to do. And I don't know. I mean, I guess once the show happens and the buy rates are out, maybe we'll talk about it, but we'll see. For some reason, I feel like if this gets promoted like around a little bit over the next few months, I think the show's in July, I believe. It could be. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. Who knows? But
I'm going the other route with it. I don't see it getting a lot of eyeballs on it, but I mean, it has the names that casual fans are going to be hearing of. I just don't know if the casual eyes are going to be aware of it. That's the only thing that I would say about it.
Yeah, I get you. I get you that, and I get that point too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll move on from that. So yeah, man, Ric Flair, man, wants to wrestle again. That'd be great. What's the point? I mean,
oh God, because he has to die in the ring. It just has to happen.
I heard he asked Steamboat to have his last match, and Steamboat.
Yeah, he's like, nah, fam. Like, I just why? Well, if you're gonna do it, go all out. Like triple threat, fucking Flair, Hogan, Sting. Like, just do it. Iron Man, 3-way. Cell, First Blood, fucking just do it. Like do it up. But
I wish Steamboat would have said yeah. It would have been
kind of cool. I
wouldn't have minded seeing them maybe go out there for 10 minutes and fuck around.
Yeah. The word is, I think they're talking about doing some tag match with like Flair and FTR against like, who the fuck was the team they were talking about? It was like Rock and Roll or something like that, and Rock and Roll Express and somebody else. I can't remember who the single guy was, but I don't know, man. What the I mean, literally, he's in his, 70s, you said?
73.
He's 73 fucking years old. I think, like, I get it. Like, it's a whole done-up thing with Conrad Thompson, and I'm well aware of. I listen to a lot of his podcasts with Bruce, and him and Tony have one, and Bischoff's as well. So everything he does, and he puts on the Starcast shows, this is going to be a part of that for SummerSlam weekend in Nashville. And I think they're doing like a roast of Ric Flair or something like that, which that's pretty much where they should cut it off at. Seeing him in the ring, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just to the point, like, can anything be more just embarrassing for Ric Flair at any point? Is anything just too much for Ric Flair? It's like, I mean, people are going to be like, oh, why not? Fuck it. I'm like, he's 73 years old. That's why. It's like, come on. Like, we don't need a fucking goddamn guy that's like, he literally almost died like 5 years ago. Like, legit. Like, he literally was almost dead. Like, you don't want to see him, literally he could die, like, if he took a bad spot. Like, I don't want to see that. Like, that would be horrible. So somebody go out or, like, I don't know, man.
I'll tell you exactly what I think it is. I think that he saw Austin at WrestleMania, and he was like, fuck, man, that was so cool. I want to do it one more time. Like,
I mean, it could be.
And I mean,
he's just a guy that's never going to ever want to not be in the spotlight. I mean, he's a performer. I mean, he's never going to lose it. He's never going to lose that he's Ric Flair. He's not anything else, but he's always Ric Flair. He's always going to be Ric Flair. Like, it's just, he can't help but not perform. And it's just like, he can't help his own self from being, Ric Flair. So it's just like, oh man, I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
for sure. So, I mean, we'll see. Once we figure out what they're going to do with that, might seek that out and kind of see what happens, because, if it's a massacre, it's a massacre, whatever. So, I mean, I'm not asking not by massacre.
Right.
Guys, I'm just saying if he's like a fucking mess because he's botching his ass off out there because he's old, well, obviously we die laughing.
That's
when we
past old at that point. It's like, fuck. He was old in the 2000s. Now he's like, okay, come on. Like, I don't want Grandpa to break his hip and die. Like,
right.
Shit.
For sure. Yeah, we'll keep tracking and see what happens with that there. Next we want to jump on to some interesting news here with Stephanie McMahon deciding to take a leave, step away from WWE for a while. Obviously in her tweet she said, well, I'm not going away forever, but I'm going away for a while. So, you know, I don't know if this really means a whole lot. I mean, it was a big news story from this week, but I don't know if this really affects a whole lot. She's obviously a chief brand officer of the CBO or whatever you want to call it of the company. She did a lot of PR work and did a lot of stuff outside of the business, and was a model citizen of the company, working with other organizations and stuff. So it's just interesting to see that. And then on top of that, finding out that Triple H is back with WWE.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like, we'll wonder what his, input is. I don't know if he'll be in NXT or he'll be on the road helping guys on Raw and Smackdown or whatever it is. Or maybe he's just in the office in Stanford. Maybe they're just like, hey, we don't want you to travel. We'll just keep you in the office. I think I heard he is in the office currently. So how do you feel about the stuff with Seth and then the stuff with Triple H back at work?
I'm not looking too much into the stuff with Seth. I think there's a lot of stuff where she wanted to just take some time off to be with the kids. It could be a switch. It could be something like Tripp spent home and like he's itching to get back there. Maybe Steph's itching to get back home and spend time with their kids and stuff like that. So I don't look too much into it. I think there was a lot that came out saying that she's going to be back in the near future. So it's always kind of like a gray area. What the hell do they even do? They do a lot of like talent stuff. They do a lot of behind the scenes stuff. They do a lot of stuff with, all the business side of things. But I'm most excited about Tripp getting back into it because I know, just knowing how Triple H is, he never wants to be out of the know, out of everything that's going on with the company, and I'm thankful he made the decision to obviously step away and not risk his health any further in the ring. But man, just having his mind and his presence back there with the talent and with just the company as a whole, and we've said it time and time again, if Tripp took over that company, we hopefully would see drastic improvement as we saw in NXT, which, was just amazing stuff that NXT's height was in the black and gold brand. But, glad to see Tripp back. Hopefully he works himself back into a role where we can see his kind of fingerprints on stuff. But I don't really look into a lot of the Stephanie stuff is too much. I think she'll probably be back in her role, but could just be doing the switch off with parents, and Tripp wants to go back into the office and Stephanie just wants to go home for a bit.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't see too much involved with it. It's interesting that she made a statement about it though. It's like, yeah, I'm stepping away for a while. It's like, why do you need to tell everyone? Like, what's the point?
It'd be a big transparency thing with WWE right now. They want to kind of like, could be a lot of the stuff maybe coming off of what happened with Sasha and Naomi too. Like, there's so much transparency that we don't normally see from a company that usually keeps things really tight to the chest. I mean, you look at back what happened with, all the tragedy with Benoit. Like, there was nothing talked about. There was nothing talked about all these other things that, big things happening outside of the, the TV aspect of what happens on a daily basis. But they're being a lot more transparent with things, which I think is a good thing. You see Tony Khan, who's literally just out there fucking like having, Twitter wars with fans talking about shit. So it's like the transparency in AEW is literally there because you have a fan running it. But it's definitely interesting to see WWE like that because they're such a big global company and, publicly traded company. So I think the transparency is a good thing. I think it's good to see. And, you see it with, obviously, like, I mean, getting into a completely different subject, but you see, like, Elon Musk buying Twitter and how transparent he is about the stuff that he wants to handle and things that he wants to do. And I think it's a good thing because there's a lot of stuff that people don't know about. So it's good to at least, have somebody come out and, kind of give you some information about it. I think it's good.
Yeah. I definitely get it. So I agree. And I think
it is interesting that she came out and did something, though. You're right.
It's like a lot of times they wouldn't even mention it. That she would just break and just go on and do her thing. So.
Right.
I don't know. So we'll keep that in mind, and we'll see if anything changes from that point of view and what's going on with that situation. And so finally, the final thing we got here, which is literally just happened today, a few hours ago. Just had to add this to the end of the podcast here, which is it is being reported that The Rock has no movie or TV commitments in the first quarter of 2023. So I mean, is this almost a lock for us to start speculating that we're going to get Rock and Reigns? Because I feel like at this point, if that's really true, we're about to get that Rock Reigns match. That's pretty much a lock for the show. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking that's probably the route that we're going to be seeing. And I think if somebody like The Rock, who's,
arguably the biggest movie star in all of Hollywood. He has to do something like this to, say like, hey, all right, well, give me this little time frame so I can maybe go in there and work something with cousin in there for a month or two, and then I can go back and do some other stuff. But I mean, this is the match. This is the match that that WWE wants. This is the match that Roman wants. I'm sure it's a match that Rock wants. Getting in there to work with a guy that's it's his family, and he's built himself up so well, and I mean it would be huge. I mean, that's WWE, man. There's no.
I think Rock wants to do it. I think
100%. 100%.
I don't think it's one of those things where it's like they want him to do it, and he's like, well, let me make time. I think he wants to do it with his.
No, I'm just saying the star quality of The Rock. He just needs to make sure that those people know, hey, I want this time off. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying with how big of a star he is, he's got to be a year in advance. Like, hey man, I'm gonna need this because I want to do this thing over here. So no, I firmly agree. I think he does too.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's, I mean, at this point with where Reigns is, I mean, I know Cena's a huge star now too, but
this is Rock Hogan. To me, it's Rock Hogan. I think it's gotten to that stature, in my opinion.
I think it's possible that you think this could be the biggest buy for a Mania ever. I think it's possible.
It's potential. I mean, I mean, what other match are you gonna do to build to fucking that's gonna have the build, that's gonna have the popularity, that you're gonna have the biggest movie star in all of Hollywood and one of the biggest cornerstone wrestlers of all time in The Rock, and you're gonna have the biggest talent that we've seen in the last 10 years from Cena, and we've seen Rock and Cena, and to me, I think it's going to be bigger. Like, I honestly do. I honestly think it could be bigger, because I think that what Roman has done and what they've done to do this, I think all roads have led here, in my opinion. I think the roads have led to this match, and this is what they want. The storyline writes itself. It's, guy coming out here calling himself the tribal chief, and then the fucking big dogs can come back and say, no, motherfucker, this is the shit that I started. It just writes itself. You could just see it, man. You could just see it. It's that match that kind of everybody has been waiting for, and it kind of just is. It's WrestleMania, man. That's what it's all about, and that's what WWE, they capture magic every once in a while, and I think that's the one they want for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to just see maybe at Rumble or something, just have, if they do some, Reigns win his match at Rumble or whatever, and then have Rock on the Tron, and he pops up and he's like, oh, hey, how's it going, everybody? When he's like, hey, so I hear you've been keeping my spot warm at the table.
Right.
Like Daddy's coming home.
Yeah.
I'm the real head of the table. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, oh shit, it's on. So
yeah,
that
that heel face dynamic is gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good, because you're gonna have all the casual fans be completely behind The Rock. You're gonna have all the kind of hardcore fans loving what Roman's been doing, but still, everybody loves the fucking Rock. Are you kidding me? So I mean, it's everything they're gonna build up with that. It'll be gold. I mean, it'll be gold. That's what those are the moments they want, and those are the big things they try to build towards, and that's definitely we've been talking about the last fucking 2 WrestleManias, that potential main event that we've wanted to see. So now, and then also having it in Hollywood. Are you kidding me? You can't make it any fucking better than what that would be. Rock Roman in Hollywood in the new fucking LA stadium they got for the Rams and the Chargers. I mean, Jesus, that's perfect. A storybook right there.
It's like the premiere of a fucking huge Marvel movie in Hollywood. Right. You got to go see The Rock in the movie where he fucking wrestles his cousin. That's what it feels like. It feels like an actual movie that they're going to be.
It does.
It's big time, and it's definitely something we are going to be all over that shit for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I mean that's all we got here for today. I don't have a meat slapper of the week. There was nothing.
No?
Nothing that I felt like slapped to the meat this week. So.
No slappies to the meaties. No.
I will
say you should maybe go check out I did watch the Eddie Kingston Davey Richards match from our old local promotion Glory Pro, which is a pretty fun match.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely one to check out. Yeah. So we got some shows coming up in the St. Louis area that we're definitely excited to talk about too. So that'll be some fun stuff for sure.
Yeah, we have a couple ones coming up, and we'll talk about them when we get to them. Coming next week or two, and then we have another one in July. So it should be fun to hit them. You know, we like going to these indie shows, and we went to an all midget event recently, and that was a fucking great time.
It's so much fun.
So it's fun to go to those local independent shows and just kind of fucking be complete asses, because it's
what we do.
The fun part of being a wrestling fan when you're live is nothing like being live and fucking with everyone. So
right.
So yeah, so you got no cringe of the week, nothing?
Cringe of the week. I mean, cringe of the week has to be your girl Serena Deeb. I'm sorry, it has to. That promo was cringe as fuck. It was.
Nice.
It was. Hey, gotta respect the in-ring work, but gotta work on the mic skills. Just a tad.
Sure. Yep. So is what it is. She might just need to pull a Dean Malenko and just
there you go.
Just
fucking. She's the ice woman, bro. She's
ice
the
woman.
Ice woman.
Right. All right. Well, that is for us. We are the Hardcore Casuals, and this is the All Killer No Filler Wrestling Podcast. Thanks for checking in with us again, guys. Another week down, another load of content. Big old blown load in the face. I don't know why I said that. We're not like that, but this was a lot. There was a lot going on.
There was.
But yeah, thanks for sticking with us, and until next week, we will holler at you guys.
Later, guys.